With great power comes great responsibility.
I can do this all day.
Wakanda forever!
Welcome, Internet, to another episode of Views from the 616, the blackest MCU podcast in the multiverse, powered by For All Nerds, where we discuss everything in the MCU from the perspective of people of color. And it is one of your hosts, Tatiana King, a.k.a. Tesseract Thompson, joined with my co-host,
DJ Ben Amin, a.k.a. NBA Youngboy, never blipped again.
I love it. That's the most perfect a.k.a. ever. And we are here to give you a preview of Moon Knight that drops on Disney Plus on March 30th, 2022. We here at Views from the 616 got to see all four out of 6 episodes. Monumental. I don't think that's really been done like that in the past. So that tells you a little bit something. We're going to tell you some of that something in just a moment. But we just wanted to lay the table out here for you and just let you know we know some things. And we're going to tell you what we feel about the series. We're going to tell you what to expect. But we're going to do it spoiler free, okay? So you ain't got to worry about it. We're never going to spoil anything for you. And plus, we're not trying to get hit with the Mickey Blicky, all right?
It's kind of funny to see what happens to people, you know, when they f***ing cross me.
We love you, Disney. Thanks a lot. Ben Amin, you got to help us. Who is Moon Knight?
All right, well, first up, Moon Knight was created by Doug Moench and Don Perlin, two writer-artist team back in like the 1960s, early 70s. And they created Moon Knight. And some people say he was kind of like Marvel's answer to Batman at first. He was basically, you know, he had all the gadgets, everything. He flew around in a helicopter. He did stuff, fought crime.
But like then, a Thanos copter?
Yeah, he had a Thanos copter, but it was a moon copter. You know, everything was moon shaped. Like everything was Batman. Everything was moon for him.
Themes. Love it.
You know, you got to stick on brand. So Moon Knight, anyway, as time developed and as writers came on, they started using him where he started adopting identities to find out ways to fight crime. So he had his identity that was like his high society identity where he was like Bruce Wayne. And then he had Jake Sully, who was like the cabbie on the street, so he could find out about all the lowlifes on the street. Oh. Then it started getting a little worse for Moon Knight, where he couldn't tell these identities apart, and he wasn't sure who was who anymore.
He went too deep into method acting.
Far too deep into method acting. He was like, There Will Be Blood, my man from that. And then from there, it just got a lot worse for Moon Knight, as more writers developed this, where it became a sign of mental illness that he just couldn't keep reality from unreality anymore. So that's basically where we're at as Moon Knight as a character. He is basically we also forgot the big, you know, one of the big things about Moon Knight is that he serves the Egyptian god Khonshu. In fact, he was first known as the Fist of Khonshu because one of his identities, Marc Spector, was a mercenary who died in Egypt, was resurrected by Khonshu, and now serves Khonshu as the Fist of Vengeance, goes out doing whatever Khonshu wants, which is usually morally questionable, to say the least.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
All right. So in summary, Moon Knight is the Daniel Day-Lewis of the MCU.
There we go. Yes.
And he serves an Egyptian god named Khonshu.
That's pretty much Daniel Day-Lewis.
So with that understanding, what are your overall feelings on the first 4 episodes? Like we said, we're not going to spoil anything, but we got to see what, like 80% of the series at this point. Like it's a limited series, only 6 episodes in total. And we have thoughts. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go?
You can go ahead.
All right. I loved it. I absolutely love the series. This is an introduction for most people into who Moon Knight even is, into the characters. I think that Oscar Isaac is he's a master. He is an absolute master. He is an actor, to say the least, right? Like he carries this series. He carries the characters and he carries the sensibilities of it. Like I felt that this series was fun. I felt it was also had dark and horror mixed in with some comedic elements. Like I felt it was fast paced enough. I felt each episode was balanced. The music was awesome, on point, and I think the supporting characters were given enough given enough agency. I would say that. So overall, from what I've seen so far, I really liked where it's going and where it's headed. This is not a series that I would say people would get right away, just in terms of how, considering how heavy the subject matter really can be. Like you just mentioned, at least from the historical take on who Moon Knight is, this is a person suffering from a mental disorder. And that does come across in many different ways in the series. Again, kudos to Oscar Isaac for being able to express this. It's just done in a completely different way that you've seen from any Marvel film or any related Marvel film when they talk about these types of things. And I think maybe this is like, aside from not Daredevil, Deadpool, which kind of straddles a different line in terms of ownership. But besides that, like, I just think that you haven't really seen anything like this from Marvel before. And I still think that they've done it in a way that's still respectful, and makes you, I think if you're smart about it, like, it makes you want to learn more about what this character is going through.
All right. I will agree with most of your points right there.
Mm-hmm.
The one problem that I had with at least the first 4 episodes that we've seen is I feel like you said it does straddle a bunch of different genres, a bunch of different tones. I'm not sure so well how all of those work in conjunction with each other. Like, the one example that I have for something that straddles as many tones as this is the Harley Quinn animated series, which I think, to me, in recent memory, is the most brilliant. Yeah, it's completely amazing. Absolutely, you should see it. And it jumps from horror to hilarity within the same 5 seconds sometimes. This sometimes does that, but dealing with the subject of Moon Knight and his mental disorder, I'm not sure if, at least for the first 4 episodes, it was handled with the grace that it needed to be. Not, I say I'm not sure. I've seen these episodes multiple times already.
Same.
I enjoyed them, but I'm still just not so sure about how it's handling these shifts in tones and the story of Moon Knight. I think Oscar Isaac is doing an exceptional job. How he's portrayed Marc Spector versus Stephen Grant so far has been brilliant. I really enjoy May Calamawai. I'm butchering her name as I do on this show. She plays the the character Layla, and I really enjoyed their relationship between them. I enjoyed a lot of things. I'm not so sure about Ethan Hawke either.
You're not so sure about Ethan. You're not so sure. Well, Ethan's also a longtime actor, man. I mean, he has some chops.
He's so good.
But what are you not sure about him?
He's good at what he's doing in this. I'm just not so sure about what he's doing in this, if that makes any sense.
You don't know what the character is going. Is that what it is?
No, the character, I know where he's going. I ain't with that either. We'll get into that. I'm just not sure with, like, the way Ethan is playing this character as of yet. I think he's doing a fantastic job of it.
Yeah.
I'm just not so sure if I'm like,
are you sold? Are you not sold completely?
I'm definitely not sold on what the character's doing, and maybe that's part of it.
Okay.
As I was discussing with someone else, I was like, yo, Thanos really had a lot of charisma. I'm coming to understand.
So wait, are you saying Ethan's character has no charisma?
Maybe he needs more to sell me on the. Maybe he needs more to sell me on this plan that he has, because his plan is outlandish. So I'm just like, yo, you need to butter it up a little bit more. Give me a little more of that Thanos action. I don't know. Thanos had me sold.
Understood. Yeah. So just overall, that's how we feel. At the end of the day, I think it's a good series. I think it measures up, surpasses maybe a few Disney Plus Marvel series. For me, like, again, I haven't seen the whole thing, so I can't make a full judgment call. Let me back up. Let me skirt.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah, that's it.
I'm not gonna be able to make a full judgment call whether or not it's where it ranks in the I guess the pantheon, the current pantheon of Marvel Plus. Wow, Disney Plus Marvel TV shows. However, based on what I've seen thus far, it's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. And like I said, it grabbed me right away. And I think for me, when it comes to watching and doing critical analysis on shows, is it going to grab me right away, or is it going to put me to sleep for a couple of episodes, which was a more recent show that we watched that I won't name because I don't want to put any bad notes on it. But anyway, I think everyone knows what show I'm talking about. I ended up liking it after the fact. But anyway, the only other point I want to make about this Moon Knight series is that and this is really important, y'all. Temper your expectations for how this intertwines and how this connects with the rest of the MCU. It's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. That's all I got to say.
Is not going to go the way you think.
That being said, this is going to be a fun series. I definitely suggest people watch this if you're an MCU fan, obviously. If you are a fan of horror mixed in with action, mixed in with a little bit of thriller, you're going to enjoy this as well. And if you're an Oscar Isaac groupie, you're going to be all over this. So it's Oscar, So I definitely say people are going to enjoy Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Also, you can add in and drop some supernatural elements to it as well.
Big supernatural elements, big Egyptian mythology elements. So if you're a big Egyptologist type person, you're gonna either be mad or be happy, depending on how deeply you study this stuff.
And, for MCU fans, even though we said temper your expectations, it does introduce a lot of things to the MCU that we haven't seen before, such as, Egyptian mythology and everything that comes along with it. Gods, a lot, other than the Norse gods that we've already seen. So there is a lot to be said. The action is there. I will give it that, especially in the first 4 we saw, there's some lit action. If you're looking for that, special effects on point. Even in the first episode, I got to give it up. That, there's some really dope action in the first episode. Right away, gets you in. Like you said, Oscar does his thing. That goes without saying. He does his thing.
Honestly, this made me look at Earth 616 like it's the most fucked up place in the universe because it's too much stuff happening and going on and being revealed. And I could just imagine just being a regular person where every 5 seconds, some new character or hero or god or magic person comes up, and it's just like, bro, I'm just trying to function out here.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't believe it took you this long to think of that because it's
just a lot.
Tight.
It's been, but it's just like, it just seems like, and I know, and that's another thing. We don't know where in the chronology that this show sits. We don't know where Moon Knight sits in terms of where does it fit within the what is it called? Not just the timeline of the MCU, but the sacred timeline of the MCU. We don't really know. Not quite yet, but regardless, it's just a lot of wild stuff happening.
There is definitely some overlap with secret societies in the MCU. Like if you belong to one secret society, you probably belong to another one.
Tell me
at least 2 or 3, probably,
Yeah,
got to be some unions going on in this MCU with secret societies.
Right. Well, also, Ben, Moon Knight just didn't come from anywhere. It didn't just sprout out of somebody's head. Well, maybe it did as an idea, right? And it became a comic. Talk about some of that comic influence for this.
All right. Well, Moon Knight, like I said before, was first created by Doug Moench and Don Perlin. And then a bunch of writers throughout the years. Moon Knight has had a long history. He's had several different series. He hasn't had like the most long-running series where, throughout his 50 or so year history, there's always been Moon Knight on the stands. But he's definitely had some notable series. He's been part of the Avengers. When I was coming up, he was actually part of the West Coast Avengers. And he's had all kind of variations. But some of his more famous and recent ones, one that I really want to point out is done by Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood. A lot of people know Jeff Lemire because he's also the creator of what's now a Netflix series, Sweet Tooth. But that first started as a comic book. So that's what blew him up. But Jeff Lemire recently did a series where a lot of the elements that we see in these first 4 episodes are taken from, where it took a look at Moon Knight and really dive deep into this idea of whether or not he's a reliable narrator, whether or not everything he sees is actually happening, or is he locked up in some mental institution somewhere, or is he in a mental institution and the gods are making him fight other gods inside of the mental institution, or is he on the street effing up some lowlifes? It's all happening in this comic book by Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood. I highly encourage everyone to come and check it out. It's available in trade paperback as well right now. It also features Mr. Knight, or the Mr. Knight persona of Moon Knight that we will see in this series. But Mr. Knight was actually created in another series by the writer Warren Ellis and artist Declan Shalvey.
I believe so.
Yes,
I believe
and
I
that was
pronounce it.
yeah. I'm going with it. And that was the first introduction of the Mr. Knight persona of Moon Knight. And it's also a really excellent series. It's 6 issues. And Warren Ellis tells a different, not really connected to each other story in every issue. But every issue of that 6-issue run is some of the best comics done. Declan does his thing on that joint. And Warren Ellis is at his peak. It reminded me of Warren Ellis's Planetary, but done in a Moon Knight Marvel setting. So if you know Warren Ellis's Planetary, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like every issue dives into a different realm of fiction. This dives into like different realms of Moon Knight for every issue. It's incredible.
Wow.
So definitely check those out. You can find any of these on all the apps. You can also get them at your local comic book store. So make sure you check out and support your local comic book store.
Dope. So that being said, what are you looking forward most for the remainder of the series? You saw 4 out of 6. What can possibly happen at this point?
There's a lot happens.
There's a lot happening. Because I didn't have a lot of background on Moon Knight, like before watching and after watching, I started reading up on the comics, reading up on all the different characters that may or may not show up. And I think, I guess maybe like what we said at the top, I'm looking forward to potentially seeing how this does connect to the rest of the MCU, if they even get there at all. Considering only 2 more episodes, I don't know. But what about you, Ben?
I'm just going to say that in one word. You know what I mean? If a certain vampire, and a Black Knight, connected to Egypt in certain ways was to show up,
I mean,
I wouldn't be mad. That's all I'm going to say. I wouldn't be mad. Do I expect it to happen? I wouldn't be mad.
All right, y'all. So this has been our preview review of Moon Knight, the first season. It might be the only season. We have no idea. Again, we saw the first 4 out of 6 episodes. It's premiering on Disney Plus on March 30th. Make sure you are watching. Make sure you're also subscribed to us. We are Views from the 616. And you can find us by subscribing to For All Nerds on your favorite podcast platform. We are on everything, including Twitch. For All Nerds. You can find us on places like SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere in between. You can hit us up. I'm at Tatiana King. He's at DJ Ben Hameen. And make sure you are following us on the socials at For All Nerds and at Views from 616.